Should you level Vigor? Seems like a pretty innocent question. Well, what is Vigor? It's a single stat allocation in Elden Ring that, among other things, but primarily dictates the amount of health points you have. You know, that red bar at the top of your screen? It's the one above the blue bar and the green bar. Well, it's a tad bit more of a nuanced conversation than I was aware of, but recently it was sparked by this clip that PvP Peverson has posted on Twitter, where he's invading at level 200, but he's outside the fog wall of the Millennia fight. Just check the clip out.
Uh-oh, the host has to do something. Finish the job, host. Don't die. Oh my God. You have 1100 HP at level 200. No wonder you're summoning the entire cast of Dragon Ball Z to carry you through the game. Holy shit. Level your Vigor. This is level 200. There's no excuse not to have 60 Vigor.
So naturally, as it is with most things posted on Twitter, this garnered a very level-headed, thoughtful response from the general community.
You sure about that?
As someone who engages in just about every form of play you can in Elden Ring, I thought my perspective could shed some light on this. And at the end of the day,
I'm here to help. If my help's not appreciated, lots of luck, gentlemen.
jolly cooperation. The act of going online to be summoned for a boss fight or help someone clear an area, or vice versa, you summoning people so that you can receive help. It's a feature that's been around since the inception of the Souls games. You and the boys putting your signs down to do combat. A lot of people would argue when it comes to difficulty options in the Souls games that this is the easy mode mechanic that a lot of journalists seem to be missing. But this is where the Vigor debate gets really interesting. You see, FromSoft's net is terrible. In this clip, I'm summoned into a random's world to help them, and I try to go for a parry. Okay, no harm, no foul. I missed and got a partial parry. You can see I lose health and stamina, but the next two attacks, I pull the parry off, but nothing happens. I don't know exactly what's going on, but my connection to this player is so bad, the game can't decide what it's doing. So this is the baseline for online play. You are playing at a severe handicap. Through no fault of your own can you end up taking damage, thus diminishing your effectiveness at helping a host. And I'm being generous here, blaming the netcode, but you're gonna go online with suboptimal vigor and try to help and be effective when any skills you might have attained through the game can just be completely thrown out the window. And you have to understand is that hosts are summoning because they need help. It's not the case every time, but a lot of times they're summoning for this reason. And I think it's important to level vigor if you choose to engage in online play, because if you get one shot by a boss, well then you're just wasting people's time. And if you're a host having to resort to summoning and you're getting one shot, well then I think we found the root of your problem here, bud. You can cheese so many fights in this game, especially if you have two summons. The very least you can do is have enough health to survive a single hit and not waste other players' time. Could you imagine if you're playing a fighting game and there was a character in that game for no reason just had 1/4 the amount of health? They don't do any more damage, they don't have any more survivability, they just have 1/4 the amount of health. Yeah, I don't think anybody would pick that character. So when it comes to PvP in Elden Ring, you have to have a robust health pool. And this doesn't just go for invaders, but if you're choosing to co-op, you are choosing to be invaded. So the chances of you encountering a bad red man are pretty much assured. As an invader, not having enough health is just a death sentence. Like here I was capturing footage from doing co-op and we got invaded. This is at level 60 plus 12, and this poor red phantom could barely survive a single crouch attack. Yeah, I have lightning Nagis, and yes, it's very strong, but you have to prepare for the worst. You have to know that you can encounter this at any time. Now you ask any invader and they'll tell you, no, you don't have to level health. Please keep your HP as low as possible so I can continue to one-shot your buddy. bodies. But for me, this even gets stale. Does it feel good to be able to take a player out in a single hit? Yeah, yeah it does. But it makes me think, why even go online then? When I invade, I'm looking for some sort of a challenge. I don't just want to win. I want the odds to be against me and to struggle and come out on top. I've seen this extended to the Coliseum as well in meta level duels. I just chalk it up to new players, but that's kind of what the point of this video is. If we're both at the same level bracket and I have 60 vigor and you have 33, well then I'm gonna win. Like, you're not just not gonna get hit. And I feel like that's really gonna discourage a lot of people from engaging in the PvP, is if they don't have semi-competent builds that they can compete with. So when it comes to leveling vigor and engaging online, then yeah, you need to level it up. So pretty please, with a cherry on top, level your fucking vigor. I define this as either playing offline or not engaging with any of the multiplayer mechanics. So no summoning other players, being summoned, engaging in PvP, any of that. This could be your first playthrough or your 999th playthrough. And when it comes to solo play, I feel like do whatever the hell you want. You don't want to level up your health, don't. You do, go right ahead. You paid for the game, you do whatever you think is right, or whatever is going to net you the most amount of fun. Because at the end of the day, Elden Ring is a game and it is supposed to be fun. For me personally, on my last playthrough, which was my DLC prep, I had planned out my character before I even started playing. I managed to defeat Moog at level 90, so I ended my prep before I could finish leveling. But when I got to Moog, I was feeling the hurt with some of his attacks with having only 45 vigor. But what I've noticed is this kind of weird ego trip that a lot of players are going through. They think having a health pool and leveling your vigor is somehow a crutch, that your gameplay isn't as good as others if you have more health to survive hits. And I don't really get this. Enjoy it however you want, and if leveling vigor and trading hits plays into that, then go ahead and do it. Like, I get hit all the time. It's because I'm trying to have fun. Like the footage that's playing on screen right now. I had never used Siluria's tree before, and I was determined to do this twin gargoyle fight with using nothing but the Ash of War. So I wanted to be an L2 warrior and get through the entire fight using only one attack. And part of learning a new weapon and the timing of the enemy's attacks and how they react to it, yeah, I'm gonna get hit. And I don't care. I'm gonna heal through it, and I have enough health and regen to just go ahead and mitigate it. Does that mean I'm cheesing the fight? I don't think so. And if you think so, I'd love to hear why you think that. And that poses a very interesting question. Why, when you're going through a solo playthrough, would you have any kind of ego attached to how you get through it? But that's gonna move on to the next and final section. Now, challenge runs are a pretty broad subject, and there are a ton of different challenge runs that exist. Randomizers, region locks, speed runs, no hit, no death, no upgrading, no leveling. There's so many different kinds of runs, but I feel like this is where the just don't get hit crew gets it twisted. They're confused. They don't understand the difference between a challenge run and just normal gameplay. Learning an enemy's attack pattern and knowing when to dodge, when to attack and heal and all that, that's a pivotal part of Souls combat, but nowhere is it written down that getting hit is somehow failing the fight. This is only true in challenge runs, or if you choose not to level your vigor and you're getting one shot. This is where FromSoft's RPG elements are a little bit different than other RPGs. A lot of times when you level up in other games, all your stats just automatically go up, but in Souls games, you have to make the conscious decision on what you're leveling. This is the consequence of freedom of choice, but this is how challenge runs are able to exist. When I was doing a rune level 1 run, it felt like the end game became a no-hit challenge. Like these bosses would one-shot you almost no matter what. So it led to me playing very differently depending on each encounter, either relying on stance breaks or just waiting out the enemy's attacks, playing more passively than I normally would. But it made me think of something really interesting that I feel like, again, a lot of Elden Ring players just are missing here. Even at rune level 1, with 0 upgrades to my stats outside of talismans, you can still do an absurd amount of damage. And again, it leads to another question. Just because I'm able to do these fights without getting hit, does that make me more skilled? Does it really? Or did I just learn this fight specifically enough for this specific kind of playstyle to be able to do it without getting hit? This might be it. Woo! Yeah! Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But if you made it to the end of the video, leave your thoughts below. What do you think about leveling Vigor in Elden Ring? Is it as important as I'm saying? Is it not as important? We're getting closer and closer to the release of the DLC, and I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, as I plan to make more Elden Ring content. But anyway, until next time.